Hey guys, so today is one of these perfume days and we're going to be talking about transitional scents. And when I'm saying transitional scents, I'm really talking about the scents that you would utilize to transition from one season to another. In this particular time, we're obviously talking about transitioning from summer to fall. So fall scents to me are warming, cozy, more slightly heavier scents. Summer scents for me are more refreshing, things that will work against sweat or body odor, and things that will just sort of make you feel cooler. Those are summer scents for me. So somewhere in between is where we're sitting today, and those are quite interesting because the scents that I'm about to talk about, except for probably one, are very, very wearable and easy to use, easy to utilize in everyday life. Some of them are cooler, some of them are warmer, but all of them are quite seasonless. So you can really honestly utilize them in any season. Let's start with Womanity. This is a surprising pick, but I found out for me, this scent works actually really well from summer to fall transition. Why? Because this is a wet scent. It is sort of wet timber. They say that it has caviar. I don't quite smell that. It has like the wet fig leaves, some timber. It's a very, very unique, very interesting scent. I really encourage you to try it because this is niche quality perfumery here. Although technically Thierry Mugler is not a niche perfume house, it's quite mainstream, but this particular scent I think is one of their most interesting, most unique scents, and I'm very, very impressed with this formulation. I've been buying and refilling it for years. It's a beautiful bottle as well, but I think this is a transitional scent for me. I think I've settled into where I like it. I think I like it summer to fall and spring and winter to spring. I think those are probably the best times for this particular scent, how it sits on my skin, because it's quite powerful, but it's not quite warming and cozy. You want a little bit of this moist of, not everybody likes that word, this freshness, a little bit of this wetness, but it's quite a strong scent. So it can be difficult to wear in the summer. It is difficult to wear in the summer just because of the concentration. Then we have a couple of work scents. First, Chanel 19 Poudre. This is many a times this perfume has been spoken about by me. And this is a powdery green, slightly mossy. Some people call it like a bitch fragrance, but I don't think so. I think it's quite collecting, business-like. It's cool. I think a lot of people, like, you know, there's this huge thing about like warm-toned eyeshadows. Everybody and their mother is wearing a warm-toned eyeshadow, but there's a whole cool spectrum that people are ignoring that looks best on people with cool and neutral undertones like myself, and cool colors are really what looks best on me, and I know that. And it can be said the same about fragrances. There are really warm and fuzzy and cozy fragrances that most people gravitate towards. Fragrances that smell like food or baked goods are a really good example of that. Warm woody fragrances as well, and there's this cool spectrum of fragrances that a lot of people ignore until it's really, really hot in the summer and everybody wants to cool down, and cool scents all of a sudden become really popular. But there's this whole spectrum of cool scents that aren't quite summery, citrus, refreshing sort of thing. And Chanel 19 Poudre is one of them. I think it's brilliantly composed. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous work scent. Just collects you, focuses you. It's a really good scent for that. And it's very businesslike. It's very non-casual. It knows what it wants. This lady knows what she wants and she goes for it. I do think men can wear this particular fragrance quite easily, just because of the coolness and sort of the aloofness of the scent. I really love this scent. It's totally one of my preferred sort of signature fragrances. I have a few scents that I would like to sort of always have in my arsenal. This is definitely one of them, and 19 Poudre has been with me for years and I really love it. And it's a great transition scent. Another newbie to my collection, a new introduction, is Elizabeth and James Nirvana French Grey. Out of all the Nirvanas, I think the black is the most interesting. I have a mind to spend this fall trying out, or really testing. I've tried all of them, but like really wearing in, you know, the rose, the bourbon, those are really good scents as well. However, the French Grey is probably one of the most unique scents. Some of the Nirvana line is really, really unoriginal. Amethyst is interesting, and French Grey, I think, are the most unique among this sort of mainstream Elizabeth and James production that they have. I think Nirvana White is the least original and very disappointing out of all of the line. It's the weakest in terms of interest of composition. It's very wearable though, so I'm sure it has lots of fans. So back to French Grey. French Grey is not a popular choice, and I'll tell you why. Again, this is this coolness, meaning that this isn't a cool spectrum of fragrances. It's not warm and cozy. It's more of a crystal fragrance. It's clear yet slightly velvety. Very interesting texture to this fragrance, and it's very, very unisex as well. This one is totally unisex, actually. I can imagine, not just imagine, but very clearly picture a very sophisticated man wearing this scent. Why? Because it does contain lavender, which is classically we're used to smelling in more male fragrances rather than female fragrances, and also home fragrances. But I really wish more female geared fragrances would contain lavender, because it's a very, very sophisticated, classic, and elevated scent. And here, this is really a musk. This is a clean, crisp musk, shaded with lavender, shaded with purple florals. This is how I would describe it. I will obviously do a separate video on it, but and you know, go into a lot more detail. But this is a very sophisticated scent, not for everybody kind of scent. It's cool, on the cool spectrum. It's not cozy. It's one of those like Chanel 19, one of those work fragrances that kind of get you together, get you focused up. It projects competence. This is why I like this. And I think for people who are career oriented and who do not need to smell like cupcake at work, and want to create a certain atmosphere, a certain aroma, a certain aura about them, perhaps they want to amplify their achievements, a scent is a good way to sort of shift that perception. Obviously, your behavior and professionalism are going to do the work, but a scent can add a flair of something, and I think the French Grey really does add this layer of professionalism and sophistication and a bit of aloofness as well. We'll talk about it later. And then we have an oldie but a goodie. Like, I have to have a mixture of new things and old things, and this is a Shalimar. I have many Shalimars, many a Shalimar in my collection, and I do use them in very different ways. And today, like in the fall and winter, I prefer the original Shalimar. I think it cannot be beat. But in the transitional season, I think Eau de Cologne is fantastic. Actually, if you are a person who thinks that Shalimar is a little much and a little too vintage and a little too heavy and a little too unattainable, difficult to wear for them, I think you should try the Eau de Cologne version, because it is a lifted, very classic version of it. It's definitely a Shalimar. Like, there's no doubt this is an original classic Shalimar scent, but it is in a more digestible, lifted, less burnt, less spicy formulation in Eau de Cologne. There's still this beautiful caramelized vanilla that is at the base of things over here, but it's a different feel to it than the original perfume, and it is much lighter, although it's very long wearing. This Eau de Cologne is Eau de Parfum quality in terms of longevity. It does stay on your skin for a while, but it is a more lifted, less dense version of this fragrance. So if you have trouble with Shalimar, but you would still love and own a classic, I think Eau de Cologne could be a really good way to go. For me, you know, the weather's still very warm. I think in Shalimar that would totally suffocate me, but Eau de Cologne version, it really is very, very doable. Moving on to a couple of clean fragrances, and this is clean reserve fragrances. I've mentioned them before. I think I'm ready to talk about them in more detail. In the summer, I was using more of the Citron Fig, and Reserve is the more exclusive line from them, more grown up and adult line. I don't actually like clean fragrances, but I think the Reserve line is actually very, very good. They're very smart to have come out with it, and very smart to have included the scents that they included with it. I think what they're trying to do with this line, with the Reserve line, is have much higher quality ingredients, and they're going towards the Aqua Allegoria way. If you know Guerlain Perfume House, which is one of my favorite classics, they do the Aqua Allegory line that is more lightweight, more easy to use, more wearable, and much simplified, much of an edited approach to scents. And I think this is what Clean Reserve line is trying to do as well. And I think they're smart to do it, because this is very high quality formulations, very good nose work, on behalf of noses who were working on these particular, at least 2 fragrances. I think good job for sure. Very, very edited approach. Some of them are more complicated, some of them are simpler. So Citron Fig, the one that I was wearing more in the summer, I'm ready to talk about it. I will film a separate video review. It's a nice fig, dry fig. If, in contrast to Thierry Mugler, this is much more damp in nature. This is a drier formulation. It's a dried fig with a little bit of sweetness to it, a little bit of tang to it, lots of citrus to it. It's a nice transitional scent, I think, on the lighter side. What impressed me a little bit more is the Cell Santal, which I couldn't really wear in the summer because it actually turned out to be a little too complex, layered, and more morphing in the summer. And now when it just cooled down just that little bit, enough to allow me to wear it, I am really impressed. This is a very simple but very complex scent. It's wood-based. It does sit differently on skin. It does really, really work with your skin. It is a little salty, which is a very interesting edge to fragrances. I think not enough fragrances have this salty note to it. I think it can really work well with the body chemistry. This one really does. This is a very interesting scent. I think can be pulled off as unisex. On my skin, it does go a little bit sweet at the end. At first, it's not at all, but at the end, it does turn into a bit of a sweeter scent, but I'm not sure on male skin with a different set of hormones, it might behave differently. And I think it would, because to me, this seems like one of those fragrances that is going to smell totally differently on different skin. So Cell Santal, impressed, very interesting. We'll be talking about it as well. And high quality ingredients, obviously, for both of those clean scents. Their regular line, do not recommend it, though, not great quality. Then we have this by Killian Jam. I'm just like crazy for by Killian fragrances. I've tried quite a few, and I have a couple of full bottles and a couple of smaller bottles. This is magical. This is bottled sexiness. So if you want some, you can buy some from By Killian. By Killian do a lot of very, very sexy, very suggestive scents. I have Phantom, which is just insanely sexual to me. It's based on spiced rum and sweetness and just like crazy party. Very wild. This one is within the same realm, a little bit more sophisticated, but it's a very sexy scent. It does morph into your skin. It does create a very interesting interplay between itself and your skin. By Killian is very famous for actually making scents that aren't just sitting there evaporating, but that are playing with you and hiding and appearing again, and then they're going to morph into something else. And this one is just beautiful. I am not one of those people who's brave enough to wear this for professional occasions. I think this is a nighttime scent or a date scent or a weekend scent, but it is not appropriate for workplace. It's a bit too sexy in my opinion. It's a very sexy scent. If that's what you're looking for though, look no further. Try this. I will go into detail about this scent as well as the clean fragrances. Obviously, they all deserve their own videos, and I will make sure to film those in the next month or so for all of them. So it's going to be a month of lots of fragrances, guys. So this, I mean, this is heavy artillery, guys. If you need it, it's there for you. But, you know, you're going to pay a pretty penny, but it's there for you. And the quality is impeccable. And lasts forever as well. I have quite a good array, I think, of things that are about to be absolutely relevant in terms of weather and temperature. And I am very happy that Dick did pick 2 of those cool and collected professional fragrances. Those I think are going to do me well for the next little while until the weather changes into much more of a fall situation. And at that point, obviously, I will be filming a separate video about those cozy, warming, and comforting scents that I love to wear in the fall and winter. But for now, these are the transitional picks. Let me know down below if you have any transitional suggestions. What do you wear for your transitional fragrances? If you are one of those people who changes things up, I am obviously, and expect, well, I guess 4 at least reviews in the next 4 weeks, because I think I will be sort of doing a 1 review per week with those particular fragrances, because I have a lot to get through and I would really like to sort of get through these scents before the season is out, so you have a good idea about them. That's it for today. See you guys later. Have a good day. Bye bye.